We're talking about Maftir of Mincha on Daf Kuf Tzadik Beis in Hagaos Maimonios, and we're going into the Peirush. The Maftir on Mincha. On Yom Kippur you have Maftir. On Shabbos you don't have Maftir by Mincha, and you only have it on Tainas at Mincha, not on the Shachris. Ravon says that you Shemesayim Mogen Dovid you don't mention the day itself because they're made the broch about it in the morning. And he doesn't sign off on Mincha just like you do on any other Tainas Tzibur. But Rashi writes that it's a mistake in those who say you don't make a brocha by Mincha and made it similar to other Tainas Tzibur. You should mention the day, just like Shachris. Shabbos you may also add in Shabbos as well. We say in Perek Bameh Madlikin that halacha is not like Rav Achad Boy, who says in Shabbos 21a that if Yom Tov falls on a Shabbos, you don't have to mention Yom Tov. The Maftir b'Mincha. But Rabbi Shimon Levi, who says Yom Hushin is higher b'Arba Tfilos. It's a day that's obligated with 4 prayers. And one cannot say the reason that if it wouldn't be Yom Kippur, you would not have Mincha on Shabbos, which Rav Gidl says there, by Rosh Chodesh that happen to be on Shabbos, that since there is a Navi in Shabbos, you have to sign off over there with the sanctity of the day, to mention Shabbos and Yom Kippur. Therefore you can say that Rabbi Shimon Levi it says that a day that he's chayav 4 prayers, they all have to be the same. As Yom Kippur happened on Shabbos, and all the tefillos you mention also Shabbos, because like Shabbos that has 4 tefillos. So too, the Maftir, one has to mention in the Haftarah also Shabbos. And so the Torah says. And so it would seem from the Mechaber that writes that one signs always mentioning the sanctity of the day, just like you do in the prayer itself. Also, Rosh Chodesh that happened to be on Shabbos, he paskins that you should mention Rosh Chodesh, the last Hilchos Yom HaKippurim. The halach is not like Rav Gidl. As he can more in Koyim Perek Yud Beis Hilchos Tefillah. As the Rambam explains in Hilchos Tefillah, Perek Yud Beis Halachot Zevov, that Revius, the 4th bracha of the Haftarah, he signs it off with regard to the Kedushas HaYom, like he does by Tefillah. So too, if Rosh Chodesh happened to be on Shabbos, the Maftir in the Navi mentions Rosh Chodesh in the bracha, just like he mentions it in the Tefillah. This is the Shittas Rambam. Even on Shabbos Rosh Chodesh, you mention Rosh Chodesh in the Haftarah, in the brachas of the Haftarah. Certainly, on the Haftarah of Mincha for sure. Chen kosev Rav Yor, like Rabbeinu Simcha. And then, so we find in Machzor Vitri, we find Seder Rav Am going. V'chivo v'Rashbam, v'chen Rabbeinu Yoel HaLevi, v'chen Merokeach, v'chen Mosdos b'Shem Rabbeinu Hananel v'Rabbeinu Gershon, v'Agoylo, v'chen Yigmaram. And we shouldn't go away from it. And so we find in Shulchan Aruch that Shabbos happened on Yom Kippur. You mentioned Shabbos and you sign off on Shabbos. The Ramah disagrees. He says you don't say Al Torah Al Avodah B'Mincha, and you don't mention the day by Mincha at all. Now, when you say Vidui, is it done sitting or standing? When the Chazan says Vidui on Yom Kippur, everyone has to stand, because Rama Bar Hamaduri in Yuma 87b, I was davening in front of in the area of Mar Shmuel Hav Yosef, and he was sitting. But when the Shliach Tzibur came to Shamnu, Avalanachu that we sinned, Kami got up. Amin Shmamino Ikavidu Hayu. The main vidu is said then. And you don't say before on Yom Kippur, before Mincha, Gishar Shabbos Yom Tovim. Add kodim to this nila. We mention only Volotzion before nila. To make a separation between Mincha and nila, and also that it shouldn't get too late. Like I said, the Seder of Amram, Shekosav, who says that after Tfilas Mincha, you start with the Ashrei. And so did Rabbeinu Machaber write in Perek Tesvav Hilchos Tefillah, like Rav Amor, Mincha Shel Shabbos Shel Yom Kippur, after the Shliach Tzibur finishes this Tila the David, which is Ashrei, V'Seida HaYoim, Oyim HaKadosh, U'Moitzi Sefer Torah, V'Oyim HaVikoyim Boyim Achziroi, and so he says, you do say by Mincha on Yom Kippur, Ashrei V'Otzion, Ashrei rather, V'Oyim HaKadusha, Mispal Mincha, and you say Kadusha, Kaddish rather, and Mispal Mincha, and then you pray Mincha. Lo La'achaz HaMusaf. Lo La'achaz HaMusaf. The Chazan has to be careful in Yom Kippur not to keep davening at a slow pace until Mincha arrives, which is after half a day, a half hour after the half a day, because if it continues till that time, there are those of our rabbis who halachically feel that you have to say Mincha first rather than Musaf, say Musaf after Mincha. As the Rambam explains in Hilchos Tefillah, Perek Gimel, at the end of Perek Gimel. Here it says if he had two prayers of Mincha and Musafin, first he davens Mincha and then he davens Musafin. And there are those who say that halacha is that you don't do that in Tzibur. People shouldn't be mistaken. Therefore, you should be careful to start Musaf before the time of Mincha. So Noach the Maram to hurry in the Hilchos Yom, which is Shachris. And at times he would skip Avinu Malkeinu till Hilchos Musaf from this reason when he needed to start Musaf early. Also Avinu Malkeinu of Mincha, you wait until Nila in order to say Nila by Yom, or to start it by day, as we will learn in its place. And all of the added liturgy, and then we say Avinu Malkeinu until into the night. Amidu Yom Kippurim. Hagaos Maimonios says Mashanog B'nei Odom L'Amid Yom Kippurim. There are people who stand all of Yom Kippur even today. Rambam is in Pirkei Rabbi Eliezer. We find it in Pirkei Rabbi Eliezer when he's Kisharoy Samol Shein Chet B'Yisrael Yom Kippurim. When the Sultan sees that there is no sin in Klal Yisrael in Yom Kippur, he says before HaKadosh Baruch Hu, when Yisraelim, Master of the world, Yeshloch Am Echad Be'oretz, you have one nation in the earth, Daimel HaMalochim. It was similar to angels. Ma'amalochim Yechefim, Avheim Yechefim. Just like angels are free of sin, so they are free of sins. Ma'amalochim Im Av Yisrael B'Yom Kippurim. Just like angels stand, because when Yechezkel saw the angels, he says they were standing, so too Yisrael always stands. However, in Perek Yom Kippurim in Yuma 87b, we find Omar Bar Hamduri. Hamduri says, as we mentioned earlier, he was davening by Rav Shmuel. It seems that Shmuel only got up when they got to Vidui. And he says that's proof that Vidui has to be done standing. He was sitting. One could say that maybe he was sick at that time, or maybe he was talking about in his old age. And therefore, every person should stand when the Chazan says Vidui, but the whole day, that depends upon your ability to stand. Now, 13 times you say Vayavar Hashem al Ponov. The Rav Yer writes that you say 13 times Vayavar in Shachris. That was a Kalbol of Yodoi, not like the Chuvas Agoinim. See in the Nusach HaTfilah. And Hagaos Maimonios Hilchos Tfilah at the end of Ahava. Atamevin ein minogenu loima ela ba'alvis. Shekein minik almenenu b'magansa. That, and you have to understand that our minig is not to say it only by Ma'ariv, but like a Chuvas Agoinim, a minig kol neyo, she'em gam b'tfilas yotzim, le'el b'nusach HaTfilah. You have to see it in Nusach HaTfilah. So the question of saying when you say 13 times Vayavar, we say it by Nila 13 times. Tkiya Mitzvah Yom Kippurim. What is it? So the Hagaos Maimonios says why we blow shofar at the end of Yom Kippur. Mashanogu Yom Kippur the Omar the Medrash. It says in the Medrash Hamitzi Moetzi Yom Kippur Basko Yotzim. When the end of Yom Kippur Basko goes out, it says go and eat in happiness your bread. Umisha Emishu Zecher al Yovel. Whoever says in commemoration of the Yovel Toya, he's mistaken. The Imkain la Yovel Koya Elabishonas Yovel. He would therefore only have to say blow on the year of Yovel. Yom Kippur Atzmoi. Only in Yom Kippur. The main minig is to do blow the entire 9. Their minig was to blow Tkiya Shvarim through Tkiya. So we find in the Chuvas of Paltu going to Rabbi Amro. For Anan, he says, however, the Hagaos Maimonios states, so you blow one blast. And if you question, how can we blow a blast before we daven Meir? We haven't said Havdalah even in Shemona Esrei. Because the actual blowing is it's not called a Melocha. It's only Midrabanan that it's also. But again, he says the day has passed by and I don't have time to go into in depth into the reasoning. This halacha is also not mentioned in the Rambam. The Torah and the Shulchan Aruch in 623 mention it. So you blow Tkiya Shvarim through Tkiya, and the Rambam writes the name of Yeshem that you don't blow only one Tkiya. We have finished Hagaos Maimonios and we'll begin Hilchos Yom HaKippurim with Hashem.